I've probably been a director for maybe nearly 20 years now, so in across a lot of different sectors, education, architecture, professional services. So it's good. It's a good mix, and it's good to bring that different perspective. And as an external director, you learn a lot as you come into a new organisation, and all the nuances around physicians is amazing.
Yeah. Well, you're also a lawyer and an accountant,
Yeah.
so we're pretty lucky that we got two extra skill
Two for
sets,
one.
on one. I know. So thank you for that. I think it's been really helpful.
The college is so bureaucratic in so many ways, and that decision making is really complicated when it could be a lot more streamlined. It's a very complex business. Faculties and chapters and divisions and specialties and all of these things make it complex in the work they do, but the governance can be streamlined.
By behaving well as the board, members have, they know that they can trust us to ensure that we oversee the management team, but also that they can trust that there's pathways there for us to engage and to improve some of the processes of the college.
I think you're right, and it's demonstrated by that ongoing transparency, and I think the way you deliver openly and transparently on so many things has really made a difference to the membership, and they know that whether it's a good message or a bad message, they'll get it.
Yeah.
But I think when you've got a director who's appointed to a board because they're a great public physician, that doesn't make you a good director.
Correct.
And those skill sets are so far from each other.
Yeah, one of the discussions we had earlier was around the skill set that you need to be a president and a chair. And you're right that they are quite different skill sets, and it's very hard to find people that have both. So I know we're considering this in the constitutional work, but in terms of the separation of the president and the chair, a lot of members have said to me, "Oh, well, what sort of skills would you need to be the chair of the board?" And I suppose I was a little bit surprised by that, because I would think that people thought that they would know they had to be director experienced and been on a board to be a chair of a board.
So the chair of the board isn't just running a committee. It's a much more complex thing. You're working right across the organisation, but you're working through the CEO into the operational side of the organisation. So one thing is the ability to lead a chief executive officer, and that's a particular skill set. The relationship between the CEO and the chair is really important. That can make or break the organisation on its own. It's also, you have to have a very good emotional intelligence to be a director, to be a chair of a board. You're running interference right through a meeting of people with passionate ideas. You have to be able to call people to account if they're interjecting all the time, and you have to discipline grown-ups, which is not always easy.
Very difficult.
And some people more than others. But you have to understand the law. You have to understand the laws governing the organisation. You have to understand interpersonal conflict and how to resolve it. And you have to be pretty brave and courageous sometimes. And you also have to be a diligent timekeeper. When you're leading the board, it's a really, you've got your eye to the material. You know what's coming through in the meeting. How much conversation do I allow? What's appropriate on this issue? And then you're thinking, how am I going to save time through the meeting?
Yeah.
So it's a really hard job at chairing a meeting. It's not like an advisory committee where you're just running through an agenda. And you've got particular things that you have to cover off on.
You have to be very open to learning and making sure that your main focus is actually the RACP.
Yeah.
And I think that's a hard thing, particularly when you're passionate about your own interests or agendas. That has to be left at the door.
Because you've taken some pretty hard hits in board meetings, and you've done it well. You've taken it on the chin, you've listened, and you've actually modified the way you work.